We need to talk about Kawhi Leonard. Faizal Khamisa, Michael Grange here with you. If you believe what you read on Twitter, which you shouldn't do on a normal day, Kawhi Leonard has already cemented himself as the greatest Laker in the history of that franchise. Multiple people suggesting that is a lock, but it shouldn't be yet, should it?
No, and I don't, to be fair, I don't really see too many people have said it's a lock. Okay. There's definitely that hearing rumblings and, you know, kind of a momentum thing that sometimes builds on Twitter around these stories, and sometimes that's how it goes. We all know that. Yep. You hear it, and then boom, it's confirmed. But I think in this case, given the nature of the person involved and the way Kawhi Leonard has conducted his business, I don't think that Twitter rumblings or any of that stuff, I don't think it matters. And it's almost to the point where the more you hear as attached to any particular team or not, that's almost like a bad sign. But that's, I'm making that up too.
Fair enough. Well, I was going to say, there was a theory floated from Ramona Shelburne at ESPN that Kawhi was maybe waiting to see who leaks information from what's going on, and all we've heard was Kawhi Lakers. Knowing what we know, as little as we kind of learned from Kawhi in Toronto in the year that we have, would that be a detriment to him wanting to be there?
The only thing I would say in that regard would be trust was a massive issue for Kawhi Leonard in San Antonio, and you know, technically, as far as we know, it really broke down to how that injury he suffered through the 17-18 season was diagnosed, what the exact nature of it was, and how it should be treated and managed. And when the organization in San Antonio didn't really buy, I mean, I remember Kawhi Leonard saying to me, or saying that you know, it really was important to him, or it felt good to him to have validated what he knew and what he felt with his body. And there was kind of a breakdown between the Spurs and Kawhi and his medical team. And so that trust really ended up in the fracture of that relationship. And so you come to Toronto, and it's been an incremental growth of that relationship right up to the NBA championship. And so, to your point, long way of saying it, I do think that to me that's a bad sign. Yeah. Like if you know, Magic Johnson is having a meeting with Kawhi Leonard, and the day later, almost a verbatim transcript is out there based on what they talked about. To me, that's inconsistent with the way Kawhi Leonard has done business and the things he seemed to emphasize.
I mean, beyond Kawhi Leonard, it feels like that would be detrimental to any player getting their stuff kind of out there,
I agree with
right?
that. I agree with that. But maybe Magic's Magic, and you go into business with him and you know what he's up to, and he's not changing for anyone, so maybe he gets a pass.
From a basketball perspective, it feels like if Kawhi stays with the Raptors, the league is as competitive as it will have been in maybe, 10 years, 15 years. If he goes to the Lakers, it almost feels foregone that they are the best team and everyone else is kind of playing for second. Just basketball-wise, what is the best decision for Kawhi Leonard in the league?
For the league? I think
there's a Lakers appeal there too, right? For them being good, that is positive for the league.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. That's a good point. There's a lot of different ways to answer that. I think from a revenue perspective, probably Kawhi at the Lakers, right? Like, I mean, it's a huge franchise. They drive traffic. They drive interest. There's almost like an algorithm, it seems, on ESPN about how much it has to get mentioned. That's with them being terrible. Imagine when they're good. But in terms of maybe a basketball purist standpoint, and maybe even really big picture, I think Toronto works. And when I say really big picture, we saw Masai Ujiri talking about the kind of global element that Toronto brings to the game, and consolidating what we saw and what kind of took place around the world in a way. Toronto kind of became the world's team. Yeah. That could be a benefit to the league in the big picture.
Kawhi, LeBron, Anthony Davis, where does that big three rank amongst the ones we've seen over the last 5-6 years? It would have to be right up there.
Well, you could say it ranks among the last 50 or 60 years.
Sure.
Where does it rank? I mean, obviously, those old Celtics teams, when the league there's so much more concentration of players, but I'd say in the modern era, let's say the past, since the 80s, as good or better as any big three we'll ever see.
We're talking about it because they're talking about it on Twitter. That doesn't mean it is real. Kawhi has not signed with the Lakers just yet. So refresh with caution. You'll know when he does sign. That is Michael Grange.